Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video I like to discuss the legal details of Labour's GB Energy scheme as Reform UK's Lee Anderson seems to get it completely backwards, even with the help of the Daily Mail, because the best they can manage is to complain that the benefits, because they accept there are benefits, won't happen overnight. Because there's been a lot of discussion about what exactly GB Energy will do. And the questions seem to be largely answered as Ed Miliband has now published the bill. It's quite a small bill, which he's asking Parliament to pass to set it up. So we know that Labour promoted two key aims of GB Energy: to drive down carbonisation of our energy production and to lower bills. There are other aims as well, and they're sort of reflected, but I think those were the two main selling points from an election campaign point of view, as I saw it anyway. And before getting on to some of the details in the bill, there's not that many, I know you're all really excited to be reading parliamentary bills again. It's worth just going over how the Tory press are still trying to swim upstream against it. And it focuses on that cost-saving part of the offer, which is what is going to appeal or not to a lot of voters. Like I keep saying, most people aren't into the how government fix problems. You know, people like me look at it and go, well, I think this will be the best way. And some other people say, no, I think this will be the best way. Most people don't care. They just want the government to fix things. And energy bills are a problem where the desired solution is, can they be lower? At least in real terms. And the Daily Mail made GB Energy the main subject of its front page, along with another pop at Harry, of course, because, you know, they're obsessed. The headline reads, Labour's £300 green energy bill saving lie. Now, your suspicion may first be raised by the fact they put lie in quotation marks there, thus indicating they don't want to accept personal liability for something they know to be untrue. Then your eyes scan a little bit above, where it says that Miliband's clean power revolution may not cut costs for families for years. So you're saying it is going to cut costs for families then? It's just the timescale we're arguing about here. But equally, because it says may take years, it's like, so it may take years, or it may be quicker. So even the Daily Mail is accepting that GB Energy will cut the cost of energy for families. It's just the when which is uncertain, not the if. And I had to laugh when I saw Leanderthal thinking he'd got a good one here. He used this on Twitter to argue, hey, you see, net zero's going to make energy more expensive. And I felt compelled to point out, no, this Daily Mail front page says that it is going to reduce costs. You know, they're trying to drum up public opposition, but all they have to work with is it will make costs come down, just not overnight. If Reform UK were to rebrand as the Spice Boys, which they've got the numbers for, 30p Lee would be thick spice. But one of the big questions was how exactly it was going to do it. Would it just be a mechanism for funneling investment into what would remain a privatised industry in order to get this green energy boost, for which the public get nothing at the end of it other than cleaner energy? Or would it own its own assets? Would this be a slow path towards nationalisation? Because I get that people who want nationalisation at the snap of fingers are not living in the real world. Economically, the government can borrow any amount of money to fund infrastructure where it would otherwise invite private financing. You know, if a private company can invest that money and expect a return, of course the government can do the same. And that will work out better for the country in the long term, because instead of profits disappearing wherever, they come back to the Treasury, or you can keep costs lower so those profits are lower anyway. Either way benefits the country, right? But we know that those benefits are not in the short term. So it also costs you the next election, as the Tory press point to the higher national debt, which is already really high now, the increased cost to the taxpayer of servicing that debt, for which there will be official government figures. They can say, this is costing you right now, and absolutely no benefit in return, because the cost benefit won't be seen for a decade at least. And we have elections every 4 or 5 years usually. One of the golden rules of politics is that if a policy has a cost, the benefit has to be before the next election. If the benefit is not going to be seen before the next election, it cannot have a noticeable cost. So nationalisation has to be done more slowly on the cheap. Rail nationalisation, the obvious low-hanging fruit. Although Labour haven't even hinted at this, water could be along in time. You can see the path to that. With water companies, they not only need to wait until there's parliamentary time to sort out the legislation, they've got more urgent things to do now, but we have to avoid taking on the debts as well. Makes it a little trickier, but the path is still there. But what about energy? Will GB Energy slowly work towards a reversal of privatised energy in the UK? Maybe, and this bill certainly suggests it will. The bill is very small. It literally just exists to give the government the power to set up GB Energy. But it does set out legal obligations and restrictions. In the financial assistance section, the bill empowers the government to provide financial assistance to GB Energy, which includes the acquisition of shares. That means having a stake in energy companies. So when people were asking, will GB Energy actually own anything? The answer would now appear to be yes. Okay, the legislation allows for this to happen. It doesn't say, oh, it must happen. But why include the provision if it's not part of the anticipated operation? It's not like the bill has pages and pages of waffle. In terms of other points of interest, the legislation does also commit GB Energy to focus entirely on the production, distribution, storage and supply of clean energy. And it defines clean energy as not fossil fuels. Now, we sort of knew that was the aim, but this bill would legally enforce that. So it means there is not going to be because part of its other aims or legal obligations indeed are to secure energy supplies, energy security. So this is basically saying, yeah, the way to make sure we have energy security is through clean energy. Of course, like with everything else, it'll be a few years before there can be any sensible evaluation of how it works in practice, even the beginning of this project. But it has now begun. And if the best the Daily Mail can come up with it is, yes, it will actually cut costs for ordinary families, but not as quickly as we'd like, then I don't think there's a huge amount to worry about. But there we are. Those are my thoughts. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe for further content and click the like button. You can also sign up for memberships if you'd like to support the channel further. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'll see you later.